am so excited to share this story with you today. This is the first time I've ever published a Western romance novella, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Here are a few things to know before we dive in. First, you can find a link to add the full-length audiobook narrated by the wonderful Joe Arden below. Second, there will be some mild spoilers for the novellas that came before it. So if you haven't listened to the Cross Creek series yet, I would recommend listening to those first. And finally, this novella does have a happily ever after, but it is a friends to lovers trope, and it takes our heroine a little while to figure out exactly what her heart wants. So just a heads up for anyone who shies away from those kinds of stories. Ready? Let's do this. The wind wandered through the gulch like it had forgotten its name. Dry, dragging dust over brittle brush, sun-bleached bone, and the warped edge of a wagon wheel. Half swallowed by the earth. Nothing moved but the sky, nothing spoke but the sand. The sun squatted low, flat and red as a burn, casting long, trembling shadows from the blackened trees that hadn't carried fruit in years. Willaboom walked with her head bent against the wind, boots worn to the sole, skirts patched and dirt-streaked, the hem damp with melted snow, her back HAD from leaning into the pull of the harness, an old yoke she'd rigged over her own shoulders since the mule died 2 days back. She was dragging a half-broken cart through the hollow toward a cabin that hadn't seen a fire in years. In the bed of that cart, laid out like a man ready for burial, was a stranger. Maybe not a stranger now. She knew the shape of his wound, the heat of his fever, the dry rasp of his breath when he begged for water and dreams. He didn't know her name and she hadn't asked for his. But 5 days ago she'd found him bleeding behind a rock outcrop with his horse dead beside him, and 3 vultures waiting in the branches. The law wasn't going to find him. Neither was his kin. Whatever he'd done or hadn't done didn't matter. She couldn't leave him. That was all. Cabin rose ahead like the ghost of something once warm. Its roof sagged, slats missing. Smoke hadn't curled from its chimney since the winter will turn 20 and learn how much mercy a town could squeeze out of a girl it didn't like. She dropped the yoke slow, careful not to jar the man. Her shoulders throbbed. Her hands were rope-burned and cracked. She pushed open the cabin door and let the light fall inside like it was afraid to touch anything. The place smelled of dirt and dry leaves, but it held. The beams hadn't caved and the hearthstone still waited under a veil of soot. She tugged the stranger inside and laid him on the only cot, tucking a wool coat beneath his head. He'd grown half-conscious and reached toward nothing with a trembling hand. Shoo, she murmured the way her mother used to soothe dogs in the rain. You're all right. You're here now. She pulled off his boots. Blood had soaked into the left one. She'd done her best to stitch the wound, but it wasn't clean, not really. One never teaches a butcher's daughter how to suture ribs, only how to get a deer and boil a rumor until it stuck. She poured snow melt into a tin and held it to his cracked lips. He drank like a child, fevered and unsure, spilling more than he swallowed. Then he stilled, chest rising unevenly under a patched canvas coat. She watched his face. Mid-30s, maybe worn, but not cruel. His jaw held tension even in sleep. Kind men earned from heartbreak or wars they didn't talk about. She turned to build a fire. The kindling caught on the 3rd match. Warmth licked the stones, scenting the air with pine smoke in past winters. She dropped beside it, hands out, eyes hollow. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't notice. The fire needed feeding. The man needed watching. She didn't. When the sun fell in the room filled with the hush of flames and breath, he stirred again, whispered something. She leaned close, brushing hair from his brow. His skin burned. Annie, he rasped. She froze, her hand still in his hair, slowly withdrew. No, sir, she whispered. Ain't Annie. He didn't answer, just turned his face toward the wall like a man preparing to vanish. Well, that was a little bit of Willa and the mysterious stranger. I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek. If you want to hear more, I promise there's plenty more where that came from. And don't forget to come back next month for another brand new full-length release. Until then, happy reading and listening, y'all.